When you hear the word metaverse, what comes to mind? Maybe this guy? We all know Facebook rebranded as Meta to go all in. What you may not know is multiple other companies are making aggressive plays into the metaverse. The biggest three being Meta, Microsoft, and Apple. And the stakes are extremely high because whoever wins and dominates the metaverse is going to shape our entire future in reality, where it could range from being kept in a dark and depressing place, being farmed like farm animals for our data, or alternatively living a dramatically improved version of the reality we live in now. This isn't just a battle, this is a war of technology and business, where companies are already spending billions per year and gobbling up every competitor that can give them a small advantage. In the coming years, it'll get bloody and ruthless. And it's all happening on a new frontier in cyberspace. So we'll talk about each big player and their angle of attack, what the future might look like if one manages to dominate, and the wartime strategies each company is employing. This is the Metaverse Wars. As Elon Musk tells us,
we're already a cyborg.
With your phone replacing your memory and your identity becoming your @username, since we're already living in some version of the metaverse, what is the difference between this and the new metaverse that every company is spending billions to develop? Well, supposedly the new metaverse is going to be so immersive that it's difficult to separate from reality. And whether that means replacing our reality or fully merging into it, well, that still depends on your vision. Some reality substitute is coming at a scary, convenient time where income inequality is soaring. When your average person has a hard time eating out at a restaurant, let alone affording the gas to drive there, the real world seems less and less appealing to spend time in. This, alongside when we look at the current metaverse and the fact that it's creating social and political bubbles, radicalizing people against each other. So keep this in mind as we go through the key players, and let me know in a comment, which corporation would you prefer to own your free will? Okay, let's look at each company, which is placing slightly different bets on what the metaverse will actually look like.
Hey, and welcome to Connect. Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse. I want to share what we imagine is possible. The experiences you'll have, the creative economy we'll all build, and the technology that needs to be invented, as well as how we're going to all do this together.
First, we have Meta, the metaverse poster child, which is coming in with some massive advantages, but also taking a super risky bet. The fact that the metaverse is going to be largely based around VR. Now, given Facebook's 15-year life, it knows you better than you do, specifically what kind of content keeps you engaged. Now, this addiction on the front end is a key piece because it allows Facebook to farm our data on the back end. The more time we spend engaged, the more data Facebook can harvest from us. This data includes your interests, your browsing history, and what you engage with, as well as picture data, giving Facebook a more accurate database of facial recognition than even the Chinese government. Now, if this people farming sounds dystopian and reminds you of a certain movie, I don't blame you. We have to ask, what would a Facebook metaverse look like? Well, like I mentioned, they're betting heavily on VR, acquiring Oculus and selling millions of units every year already. The key piece is going to be combining this VR tech with the addiction formula that they've already figured out. If they can do this and capture even more time from you every day, then that equals even more data that Facebook can sell to advertisers on the back end. Studies show Facebook-owned apps, more than any others, make users lonely, self-conscious, and depressed. So it makes sense that Facebook's metaverse would have these same properties. Extremely addictive, possibly leading to mental health issues, and being more commercialized than a Dubai mall. Before I freak you out too much, let's look at what Facebook has actually put together VR-wise. You might have seen the cringe-worthy consumer-facing Meta trailers, and on the corporate side, they're meeting technology horizon. Well, it kind of looks like Wii Sports from 10 years ago, and do you really think investment bankers are gonna be engaging with each other as these cartoons? Let's also be realistic. Everything I'm telling you now, people already believe. Facebook and Zuckerberg have terrible PR, so people are very skeptical with every new product they roll out, which can't be discounted. Also, since Meta is going all in on VR technology, which many people are skeptical is ever going to have mass adoption, well, if that fails, then Facebook is pretty much screwed because they don't really have a lot of backup plan. Lastly, unlike the other companies, they're trying to build a metaverse platform from scratch. They're basically trying to jump from media-based timelines all the way to a custom metaverse platform, which is not a very natural transition. That seems insane when other more natural entry points exist. One of those entry points being gaming, which our next big player is betting the house on. And that's Microsoft. Now, when we think about it, there might be no better reality substitute than existing games already out there. Games already have immersive worlds, realistic 3D avatars. They have real economies and allow us to move throughout massive interconnected worlds. Gaming has a foundation it's been building upon for decades. The game World of Warcraft came out in 2004, almost 20 years ago. Now, creating these engaging worlds is not just an art, it's also a science. Even with a game with all the right pieces, it can easily be messed up. In other words, creating engaging games you can't just get into overnight. Easy example is Amazon investing billions into its game New World, which looked incredible, but it's already lost 80 to 90% of its original player base. Now, for Facebook to get into gaming, it would have to make some aggressive acquisitions, but it hasn't done any at this point. Microsoft, on the other hand, has been stacking wins in the gaming space for years. That's what makes Microsoft possibly the biggest rival to Meta in winning the Metaverse War. Now, you know they own Xbox, one of the biggest gaming platforms, owning both the hardware and the software. But what you might not know is they've been buying up gaming studios like Candy, trying to almost create a gaming monopoly. Famously, they bought Minecraft in 2014 for $2.5 billion. A game that's basically already a version of the Metaverse with 140 million monthly active users. People have already built massive worlds and communities in Minecraft. But Minecraft still looks like peanuts compared to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It was 30 times larger at $69 billion, with Activision owning Call of Duty, Overwatch, and even World of Warcraft. All this is to say Microsoft is betting on the gamification of the metaverse, being the key to it actually having success and adoption. They're thinking down the road that this synergy can cross over to the corporate side, or they're building in parallel for now. They've already got their corporate platform Teams, which started as just a messenger app, but is expanding much beyond that. They're rolling out connected insights and AR or augmented reality platform to map 3D spaces, which allows you to run modeling and simulations, super important for things like factories. And they're also rolling out tools like Mesh and HoloLens, which actually create holograms. Now again, if you're now thinking Microsoft will completely dominate Metaverse, this makes a lot of sense. They also recently put out this demo, which was arguably more cringy than Meta's. So first, don't get too excited yet. And second, that might be good news for the last competitor, Apple. Apple's always been a more secretive company than the other two, withholding iPhone launch dates until the last minute, let alone their bigger secrets. But what they haven't kept hidden is they are also making massive plays into the metaverse. And in a few key ways, they are far above the other two companies. Just think of it for a minute. Everyone already has a piece of Apple metaverse hardware in their pocket, the iPhone. And they have two new key pieces on the way: Apple glasses for pure augmented reality, and the Apple VR headset. What the headset looks like is pure rumor. Some say it will have the M2 chip, and many are saying it will cost between $1,000 and $3,000, making it a serious high-end piece of hardware. Now, unlike Google Glass and Snapchat glasses, whenever Apple releases a product, they don't miss, and they don't release things too early. So you can bet when these come out, they're going to be groundbreaking. Now back to the software side of the iPhone, Apple has been rolling out its new tech LiDAR, laser radar, since the iPhone 12. And the LiDAR scanner, which is invisible to the eye, sends out laser light pulses that allows it to map 3D spaces. This is what allows Apple cameras to do things like portrait mode, blurring the background with a subject in the foreground. And in the upcoming iOS, there's a feature to remove the subject from the background entirely with a single click of a button. We can't discount Apple's open ecosystem of app developers either, who can all use this LiDAR tech to build third-party apps like a 3D scanner. Having an open platform of independent developers allows for more innovation, while they can also capture the financial upside of any app's success. Though Apple's high app fees have been controversial, developers' hands are going to be tied if they need to use the LiDAR tech. In fact, Apple's bought over 100 companies in the last 6 years, hoping to cover every augmented reality scenario, from holograms to facial recognition and expression mapping. In recent years, they've created animojis unlocked with face technology. And let's not forget, Apple has a robust map software that's often overshadowed by Google Maps, but still extremely powerful. And Apple just sealed a deal with Lamborghini to design the Apple car and finally roll that out. We've been waiting for it for years. So yes, Apple is fully betting on augmented reality, a metaverse that will not replace the digital world, but seamlessly weave in and integrate with it. Just imagine some of these pieces complementing each other. AR combined with GPS to show you your navigation directly on your windshield of your Apple car. The stereotypical future mirror with an overlay of weather and notifications brought to life by Apple Glass as you brush your teeth in the morning. So yes, Apple has by far the largest head start for a metaverse that will integrate with your existing life rather than replace it. Now we've talked about the big three, but that's not to say any one of these companies is going to win. There's several other dark horse players. Some are betting on a Web3 completely decentralized metaverse. And by betting, I mean financially, where we already see massive metaverse real estate purchases tied to NFTs. And NFT hype could ultimately be their downfall. Alternatively, if the future is going to be gaming, other platforms like Roblox and Fortnite also have significant market share, with the Fortnite Travis Scott concert being one of the largest digital events of all time. But I know for a fact having a Fortnite metaverse would be a lot of people's nightmare. If we're thinking even farther into the future, we could also have a Neuralink-based metaverse. Maybe those AR overlays could actually be happening in our brain. Just as Tesla was able to break in and disrupt the car industry, the next Elon Musk may very well be in the metaverse. But that being said, the competitive advantages and head start the big three companies have do seem like they're going to be hard to overcome. So here's the question we're left with. Will a single company win the Metaverse Wars? And if so, let's hope they don't treat us like farm animals. Or will the metaverse itself be a platform more like the internet that's so large that no one player can actually dominate? But we're just going to have to wait and see whether the metaverse turns over a new leaf for humanity or drowns us in darkness.